Everyone's ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Planning Advisory Committee for the Town of Quispamsis for Tuesday, October 14th. Item 2, approval of agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Mr. Goslin.
So move.
Can I have a second on that? Brenda?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please?
I'm good, yeah.
That vote's carried unanimously. With that being, we'll move on to item 3, disclosures of interest. None being, we'll move on to item 4, approval of previous minutes. Any amendments to the previous minutes? None being, can I have a motion to approve, please? Mr. Hatfield,
So moved.
can we have a seconder on that, please? Mr. Goslin,
Second.
thank you. Can we have a vote on that?
I'm good, Leanne.
Okay.
I'm getting too fast, let me know. That motion's carried unanimously. With that being, we'll move on to item 5, business arising from minutes. Can I have a motion to receive and file? Brenda?
I'll make that motion.
Brent, can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. That being, we'll move on to item 6, new business, or unfinished business, sorry. None being, we'll move on to item 7, new business. 174 Hampton Road. Could the applicant please come up, state their name for the record, please, at the podium?
Hi, my name is Elliot Kim.
Okay. We're going to get Jennifer to introduce that item for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the committee members. The application before you is for discretionary use of a liquor sales restaurant, a licensed restaurant, sorry. The applicants actually submitted an application back in 2016. They were approved to be a licensed restaurant. However, the notice of decision did have a year timeline on it. They've only recently applied for the liquor license through the province of New Brunswick, where they were asked for their zoning confirmation letter. This is where this all sort of transpired. Because the notice of decision has expired in 2017, we had to bring it back to PAC just to make sure that their wishes were still to allow the restaurant to operate and serve alcohol. I'm available to answer any questions the committee might have.
Thank you, Jennifer. You would have received the same information we did in the mail. Anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to members of PAC or members of the public asking you questions?
It's same hour of operation since the last time we requested it back in 2016, I believe, and there's no changes regarding with the restaurant itself since then.
Okay. Thank you. You want to speak, Jennifer?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add that we did hand deliver notification letters to properties within 100 meters, and we have not received any concerns from the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any members of PAC like to ask the gentleman for any questions? Brent?
Mr. Kim, in the decision in 2016, one of the recommendations, or one of the decisions was a third disabled parking spot had to be added. That has been, okay.
Thank you. Any further questions for the applicant from members of PAC? None being, is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Is there anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time. Is there anyone in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions? Mr. Hatfield?
I'll put a motion forward that the Planning Advisory Committee approve discretionary use, a licensed restaurant under section 12B1F of the zoning bylaw number 038 at 74 Hampton Road, PID 00244-574 and PID 00249-789, subject to the following terms and conditions. A copy of the provincial liquor license to permit the sale of alcohol in the establishment is filed with the town.
Thank you, Mr. Hatfield. Mr. Goslin, second that?
Second, yep.
Thank you. Any further questions for the applicant? On the motion? None being, would a motion, can we vote on that, please? Sorry. That motion's carried unanimously. In 5 to 7 business days, you have a letter in the mail with your approval. Please work with the town to have necessary documentation in place, copy of the permit so they can get a copy on file, and best of luck in your future endeavors. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Item 7B, 132 Montana Drive. Could the applicant please come up and state their name for the record, please?
Hi, Matthew Murphy.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Murphy, we're going to have Jennifer introduce that item, then we'll see if there's any questions. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the committee members, before you is a request to erect a fence on a property line, actually impacting 3.1 properties. I say 0.1 because at the very point, it does impact Quispamsis property, but talk to the development officer and we don't have any concerns. So it is to support a pool expansion in the backyard or development, and they're wanting to place the fence on the property line. We have received letters from the impacted adjacent properties that have provided their authorization, saying they have no concerns for the fence being located on or near a property line. We did send notifications, or we didn't send them, we hand-delivered notifications to properties within 50 meters of the subject lot, and we received no concerns to date. So I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jennifer. Mr. Murphy, you would have received the same package we did in the mail. Anything you'd like to add or discuss prior to members of PAC asking some questions or members of the public?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any members of PAC have any questions for the applicant? None. Oh, Brenda?
A quick one. It's just the back of your property, right?
Sides and back. It's an odd shaped property, so it's
Yeah,
sides and back. I would
but
say.
it's not going to be the whole property.
That's correct. Not the
Okay,
whole.
so there'd be fenced, where'd it be kept?
Shows it on that first diagram you had up there.
Okay.
See the line, the dotted lines?
Okay, I was missing that. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda. Any further questions for the applicant? Anyone online or in the audience willing to speak for or against this item? Is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? Third and final time, is there anyone in the audience or online willing to speak for or against this item? None being, would a member of PAC like to put a motion for or against with terms and conditions?
I'll put a motion forward, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, go ahead, Kendall.
I recommend the Planning Advisory Committee approve the 0.6 meter fence setback variance from section 6S7 of the town zoning bylaw number 38 to allow a fence to be erected such that it is located on or near the shared property lines with civic addresses 105 Auburn Way, 107 Auburn Way, and 136 Montana Drive at 132 Montana Drive, PID 30350474, subject to the following terms and conditions. Number one, a location survey is required prior to the installation of a fence to ensure that municipal infrastructure is not impacted by the installation of the fence. Number 2, lot lines are clearly delineated prior to construction. If the property pins are not identifiable, a professional surveyor licensed in the province of New Brunswick be hired to locate and mark the property lines. Number 3, all work associated with the construction of the fence is to be completed within the property boundaries of the subject lot. Number 4, the fence shall be maintained in a condition of reasonable repair and shall not be allowed to become and remain in a condition of disrepair, including noticeable leaning towards an adjoining property or sidewalk, missing sections or slats, broken supports, non-uniform height, and undergrowth of weeds or vines. And number 5, a development permit is obtained prior to construction.
Thank you, Kendall. Mr. Hatfield?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? None being, can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously. With that, 5 to 7 business days, you have a letter in the mail, so please work with the town. Have all necessary documentation and paperwork in place, and best of luck.
Very good. Thank you for everybody for your time.
You're welcome, thank you. With that being, we'll move on to item C. Zoning bylaw amendments, then I'll turn that right over to Jennifer.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the committee members, before you is what I consider a typing error correction to the zoning bylaw. The bylaw, if you can see in the diagram, under duplex or semi-detached with distinct ownership, says it's not permitted in sewer serviced only areas. It's only for distinct ownership. You can put up a semi-detached on a lot containing, sorry about that, you can put up a, sorry, get my thoughts together here. So virtually it's saying that you cannot put a semi-detached on a lot for distinct ownership if it's only serviced by sewer. We think what happened was that this not permitted accidentally got placed in here, and it should have provisions in there saying that it requires a 30-meter frontage, a 38-meter depth, and 1,140 square meters, as Section 8J does state in the bylaw. So knowing that, and in speaking with legal counsel, we were informed that the section in the bylaw actually would supersede the table, but we wanted to make sure that everything was sort of aligned with one another. So we're just asking that this mistake, error, be corrected, and that the Section 8J, the intent of that be reflective in the table. The other thing that we wanted to speak about was also allowing building inspectors to enforce a zoning bylaw. Currently, it's only the development officer, the planning director, and a bylaw enforcement officer that can actually enforce the zoning bylaw. What we're finding is that sometimes building inspectors are out on site. They do a lot of site visits, and sometimes they identify a zoning bylaw infraction. They can't enforce it. They can't advise the person to stop. They have to come back to the department and report on it, etc. What we'd like to have happen is to allow the building inspectors to enforce the bylaw so that they can do it immediately on site when they're seeing the infraction, so that we can improve our response time for the department. I'm available for any question, to answer any of your questions that you might have regarding that.
I got a question right off the bat. Is that consistent with other jurisdictions where the building inspectors can enforce the bylaw?
Oh, that's a really great question. I didn't check to see. I know that the building inspector was once a part of the enforcement of the bylaw, the zoning bylaw here in Quispamsis. There was a change while I was not here that removed that person from being able to do that, but now the development officers requested that we put that back in just to allow us to have that fast response time.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. The building inspector is a qualified building inspector? Is not a summer student or something like that, am I correct?
That is correct. They all have to pass their exams, et cetera, to be, and they all have to be appointed by council to be considered a building inspector.
Brenda?
Just a quick question, how do they enforce it? If they see a violation, they,
Well, generally speaking, it's always bring it to someone's attention first, so it may be just a matter of saying, you know, that your setback isn't right, you're gonna need a variance and to report that to the person so they can start the ball rolling.
or they build faster. We know that happens.
Well, it's just another voice out in the field.
I guess, I guess they're right there talking to the homeowner or someone right there, so it doesn't have to come back, get a letter sent.
Exactly, and that's what we're
The owner or
looking
whoever's there
for.
notified is known right up front, then it
That's-
gets written up, is that what would happen?
That's correct.
I
They
hope it
could-
would get written up no matter what, even if they spoke with, say, Mark, it would be getting written up anyway.
That's
Okay,
correct,
I
that's
spoke to
correct. Mm-hmm.
so-and-so at this time,
Yeah, and these are the actions that I was able to take,
okay.
you know.
So does the homeowner or the developer get a written notification?
There's an outline of, I don't have my computer with me,
Sorry,
sorry.
no, I guess my question, Jennifer, is I'm a building inspector, I'm on site, I'm going through development, and I notice infraction of the zoning bylaw. So my question is, yes, it comes back and get recorded at town hall, but if I'm there as a building inspector, now I'm switching hats, becoming a bylaw enforcing the zoning bylaw, do I give documentation to that developer or homeowner before I leave?
There's criteria that's in the zoning bylaw and how it's supposed to be followed. I would have to revisit that to know exactly what the steps they would have to take in the field. But again, we're just asking that they be provided this authority just so that we can have, while someone's right there on site, that they can speak to and sort of enforce what our bylaw is, saying that that is required.
Jennifer, would it be consistent to say, we'll do the table, we'll allow the bylaw officer to be on site for doing that, enforcing the bylaw, as long as it's maybe consistent with other jurisdictions, or do we want to stand out? I'm just saying, say you went at St. John, Hampton, Ross, and they said, no, it's not allowed. Would we still want to go ahead and do that?
Yes,
Okay.
we would. And the reason being is that our building inspectors are in the field all of the
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
Dwight and I are not.
yeah.
I'm often
And they know what to enforce. They've all been trained. to do the
Exactly,
bylaws
and we're
stuff.
talking about, most of it is gonna be like setbacks or what have you that they notice while they're doing they're GPSing or surveying a site, and they'll be able to speak to that infraction.
So is there necessary training that they have to have, additional training to say, here's the are they 100% familiar with the bylaw?
They're very familiar
Okay.
with those aspects of the
Okay,
bylaw.
Perfect,
Yeah.
all right, okay. Mr. Hatfield?
Through you, Mr. Chair, our neighboring town, Rosse, has that dual. And I think this is a great move on behalf of the town to do it, because as a developer, it's great to have that person there to tell you upfront, instead of going back and waiting a week or two, as we demonstrated, they're not always out in the field.
Excellent feedback, thank you. Brian?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion. PAC support the council in the zoning bylaw text amendment request regarding correction to table 3 to be reflective of the intent of section 8J, and include a minimum lot width of 30 meters, a minimum lot depth of 38 meters, and a minimum lot width of 1,140 square meters to permit the development of a duplex or a semi-detached dwelling with distinct ownership on lots serviced by municipal sewer only, and to support the text amendment to section 27 to include the term accredited building inspector, provide them with authority to enforce the zoning bylaw.
Thank you, Brent. Mr. Hatfield?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can we have a vote on that, please? That motion's carried unanimously, so Jennifer, maybe you can have those amendments made to the bylaw on the table. That's perfect, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Mr. Chair.
With that, we'll move on to item 7D, PAC policy review. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really tried, you guys. I wrote language, I provided it to legal on 3 occasions, and every time has come back and said, this has to be public facing, it has to be public facing, it has to be public facing. So with that, the recommendation of legal counsel is that in the event where the only business to attend to is the approval of minutes and or the acceptance of the notice of decision is prepared, the meeting shall take place in person as scheduled. However, I did provide language in the bylaw, in the policy, that if there is inclement weather, if there's a disaster, if there is some major event that occurs, that we are able to cancel the meeting, and it outlines the steps that need to be taken. The legal counsel said that that was fine because no meeting was happening, so there was nothing, the public wasn't missing out on anything. But the concern is that the public wouldn't be privy to any discussions that were had, if there were any, regarding any of those items. It was pointed out that the PAC body is appointed by council and operates under the Community Planning Act, whereas council, who is allowed to do e-polls, are elected members. They're elected by the public, and they're under the Local Governance Act, which does have provisions in it for closed meetings. So I think that's where the difference really lies, is that there's no provisions in the Community Planning Act that says that we can make decisions, although we consider them to be small. But there's no provisions in that for us to do without the public being able to at least watch and participate in that manner. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's understood, but it doesn't make sense, right, at the end of the day, but it is what it is. Brent?
So I have a question. I agree with what you said. So my question is, earlier this year, something had to get done for the developer. It didn't go to public, it didn't come to a meeting, went to a poll. We all agreed by email, and then we ratified it at the next meeting. So does that mean that transaction was illegal based on the discussion we just had?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I think what happened was that I sort of opened Pandora's box a little bit when we started rewriting the policy and asking these questions. And before, the question was never put forth to legal. So I think going on a go-forward basis, that this is what we have to follow.
Brenda?
I guess why I understand about this is there never going to be an email saying, no meeting this time. That's
Through you, Mr. Chair, unless there's inclement weather. Yeah.
a different definition of inclement weather. Just said weather, because it's nice, we can also.
I think legal might have picked up on that.
Anyway.
Makes sense, and there was nothing to ratify on there, was there? Or we just approved the policy as updated? That's correct. Okay, so would a member of PAC like to put a motion for that we mark?
Mr. Chairman, I'll put a motion forward that the Planning Advisory Committee approve the amendment to the PAC procedural policy as presented and to be executed by the Chair and PAC Secretary following the meeting, with a copy of the amended PAC procedural policy provided to the Council for their information.
Thank you, Mark. Can I have a seconder on that? Brenda?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Brenda. Can we have a vote on that, please? What do I say? Okay, that motion's carried unanimously. With that, we'll get you, do I gotta sign that? Do we gotta sign that document? Yes. Yeah, okay, we'll get that signed, and we'll distribute a copy of that to all PAC members via email or have it on their laptop or their tablets. And maybe we can get it added to the, I think there's a little document on that, on this, on your iPad when you log back in. There's a bunch of documents up in the right-hand corner, so if we can get it added to that, it'd be great. So thank you. With that being, we're gonna move on to item 8, information items and discussion items, none being. I didn't see any council minutes there. I don't think so. No. Are they? Okay, they are, yep. Have a motion to receive and file, please.
Second.
Okay. That was, Brenda moved it,
You got it.
Brent seconded it, and who's voting? We're all voting.
Not you, you're not allowed to vote.
No. Bunch of energetic folks tonight. That motion's carried unanimously. With that being, item 9, adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Mark, seconder on that? Mark Goslin?
Second.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Kendall.
No, it's not.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Two.
Hey.